All right, thank you, Mr. Wale Bakare. Thank you for joining my program today. I appreciate you a lot.
Yeah, it's my pleasure and
Yeah,
privilege to be here.
yeah, before we move ahead with the questions I'm going to ask you, I just want to have a brief knowledge about your childhood experience before we move on.
Oh, well, by my childhood experience, I guess you're talking about uh, my background, my parentage. I was born to the family of Malaji Bakare and his wife, my mom, um, about 60 years ago now. And I attended Comanche School in Lagos. I was also privileged to have attended the Nigerian military school for my secondary school education, right after which I served in the army briefly. And subsequently, I went to the university after and graduated with a degree in theater and communication arts. And yeah, that's I think is where the childhood bit ends. After that, of course, I go into my working life, which um, by which time I was already an adult. All right. So do I continue? Do I continue from
No,
there?
no, so you mentioned something about being an army. I don't understand that. I don't that was
Yes, I started life. I started life in the military
well.
because I attended the Nigerian military school, like I said, and the way we operated, the way the school operated was that we went through military training alongside our academics, and on graduation after your secondary school exams, the WAEC at the time, you also qualified as a soldier, as a private in the Nigerian Army. All right, because during that period, you will have gone through all the military training required for you to be um, drafted into the army. So by the time you were leaving, you were already a full-fledged soldier. So what would happen after that is that on leaving the school, you will be posted to a military unit. I was posted to the Nigerian Army Electrical, Mechanical, and Engineering Corps in Lagos, in Yaba, Lagos, which is where I did my post-secondary school military service. All right. So, but subsequently, I left the army and then went back to the university. Yeah. I can't. Yesterday, you're muted. You're muted.
I saw the soldier in you. Most of you want to address me. Just try to be like military person. Like you want, I understand now. So it's there. Yeah, yeah. It would have
Yeah,
actually been
yeah.
nice. You are actually a military person, oh, in real life.
Right. Yes. I do have a military background. Yes.
So how do you now find yourself in this career that you have now?
Well, it's been like it says on my personal website, a labyrinthine journey, which means that it's been my journey of life has been a bit convoluted. All right. I actually came into safety by accident. Pardon the pun. All right. When you talk of safety and accident, but the truth is that I didn't set out to be in safety. I actually started out my civilian professional life in advertising. All right. And the media. But at a point, I think that was back in 2002. Um, I and somebody formed a company called Austin Energy. Just back then it was a relative of mine that we set up this company called Austin Energy, and she used to work in the bank. I was in health and safety. I was in marketing communications at the time. So, but we were keen on getting involved in the oil and gas business. Okay. And at that time, for you to make any progress or any big deals in the oil and gas business, you needed to have some kind of technical affiliation with some foreign companies. I guess it's still quite the same up to now. All right. So we were introduced to this company in Scotland called Sabre Safety. All right. At that time, I didn't know anything about safety. I had no knowledge about safety. All we wanted to do was just get a foreign technical partner, because as far as I knew at that point in time, safety was a hard hat and cover, overalls. That's all safety meant. So we got this technical affiliation with this partnership or agency with this company called Sabre Safety that was based in Aberdeen, and they went into some form of safety. All right, they serviced self-contained breathing apparatuses and all sorts of airlines and stuff. The important thing was that we just wanted to be able to say we had a foreign technical partner. All right. But as time went on, I found that I kept getting asked, I kept getting asked about safety, and I knew nothing about it. We went and supplied some PPE, and I said we're a safety company. But along the way, I found out that wasn't the truth. All we were doing was just being a trading company. All right, and that is not the way I do things. So of course, I went to learn about safety and went to England to do the Bosch general certificate course and examinations. That was back in 2004. And yes, and since then, I just kept at it and kept knowing more and more about safety, worked in safety, but found very quickly that my forte was more in teaching safety than any other thing. And that is what I've been doing ever since.
Yes, sir. I know you're right, sir, because you're one of the people that actually brought in a Bosch to Nigeria.
Yes.
Because then when I did my Bosch, I was telling people then that it was white people that always teach us the Bosch before Nigerians started teaching us. So it was white people. Then we are one of the people that brought in the Bosch to Nigeria, and then it was white people that always teach people then. Later, Nigerians they are now lecturers teaching. So can you tell us the experience what happened? How were we able to manage in the Bosch training then?
Okay. Like I said, when I did my Bosch, it wasn't being run in Nigeria by anybody. Okay, so I had to go to England to go do it. And then when I came back, yes, after we moved on from Austin Energy as it was then, and I started running my own business in safety. We, like rightly said, were one of those that started hosting Bosch classes in Nigeria, one of the first then, and we used to go bring. I got in touch with a company in the UK called SMTS, which was run by a friend of mine, somebody who would later become one of my closest friends, a gentleman called Jamie Cliff. All right. And we got into a partnership initially, a partnership arrangement which saw us bringing, trainers from the UK to Nigeria to run the NIBOSH Health and Safety NIBOSH International General Certificate course, which had just been introduced by NIBOSH at that time. Before then, it was only the general certificate, which was strictly based on English law, which was what I did, that was being run. But by this time, it was the IGC, the international version. And we used to bring like one or two other people at the time used to bring in trainers from the UK. Okay. But we got to a point where we decided that this wasn't right. This wasn't right. And to that, I owe an eternal debt of gratitude to a person I would call a mentor, a friend, and a father figure in the safety industry. Okay, Dr. Francis Oluwagbemi. He actually was the very first Nigerian to train the NIBOSH General Certificate in Nigeria. He was the first person, and he did it for us. Okay, my company was the first to run a class in Nigeria using Nigerian trainers. Before then, every other person that was doing the training had to bring in trainers from abroad. So Dr. Oluwagbemi was a friend. We had a discussion about it, and he said, "No, this can't continue." And I said, "Yes, it shouldn't continue. Can you do it?" And he said, "Of course, I can do it. I'm already Simayosh." At that time, he was the first in Nigeria. All right, the first chartered member of IOSH in Nigeria, and we are come run this thing for us. And he came and did, and it was a battle. Yetunde, it was a battle with the NISP people as they were at the time. They gave him plenty of trouble about it because they felt it was encouraging a foreign qualification over the Nigerian qualification, whatever that was at the time. But he stood firm. He stood firm. He stood firm. He stood for the truth. And his commitment and dedication opened the path to what we are seeing today, where nobody uses foreign trainers anymore. Mm. All right. He said it won't go in, and after him, we just kept on like that, bringing more people. And we got to a point we were now exporting trainers to other parts of Africa and even to the UK. Right. But it all started with Dr. Oluwagbemi.
May he so rest in peace.
May so rest in peace, yeah.
So what is you actually pick for HSC profession, you pick being a trainer as what interests you more?
Yes.
Is it so rewarding experience for you? How is it like? Is it a rewarding experience for you so far?
It has been. It has been a highly rewarding experience. There's nothing I love more than seeing people who have had the privilege, like you, to have impacted on and been part of their life journey in the profession, rising to the top of their game, rising to the top of the profession, not just in Nigeria but across Africa. We've had the good fortune to have trained hundreds, if not. I don't want to be. I don't want to exaggerate, but I know definitely several hundreds of people across Africa: Kenya, Cameroon, Ghana, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, all over the place. So everywhere I go, it's always a thing of joy to see people whom I trained 10 years ago, 15 years ago. All right. I meet them at seminars, and then they are introduced as the country director for health and safety. They're introduced as as the safety advisor for this, for that, and they acknowledge my presence and say, "Oh, my teacher was here. My teacher is right here. The person that taught me what I know is right here." And it's always, that is rewarding. Financially, I can't complain. Right? I definitely cannot complain. But of course, there are people that make significant money from health and safety these days. But back when we were there, we were more concerned with making an impact, all right, than any other thing. And I'm very glad to say that the fruits of those early days have blossomed, and everywhere I see them, I always feel very fulfilled and happy.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. So that means so far so good. You don't have any challenge being a trainer in HSC? You don't have any challenges?
Well, of course, there's nothing in life that you do that there won't be challenges. There's nothing in life that you do that you won't face some challenges, especially if you are operating on the international level, on the international scene, like we like we have been doing for a while. Personally, okay, let me say it this way. There are two sides to it. One, as a business, all right, there are challenges, and then of course, as an individual, as a professional, there are also challenges that you face. So first, as a business, as a training business, now that has changed. That has changed somewhat now. But I'll tell you something. My organization is still owed money, uh, running into millions from as far back as 2010, 2011. Now imagine how much that was back then from people that made promises, will pay you this when you run open classes. You have to deal with that, but you also have to look at it, look at it from the point of view that look, you want to help people, right? So you need to strike a fine balance, okay, in that kind of situation. But that is on one side. On another side, of course, is the fact that as an individual or as a trainer, as a professional in the business, you continually encounter situations that need for you to be responsive, especially if, like, for example, you go into a country like Zambia or Tanzania, where you have serious differences in tonal or accent, the accents of your various students and audience. And somebody introduces himself and says his name is Lordwell. All right. If you did not prepare yourself, or you are not used to, if you don't know the game, all right, you might end up mispronouncing names. You might end up making references that are not culturally appropriate. All right. And this is where it becomes necessary for you to do your own homework. It becomes necessary for you to prepare and for you to be quick on your feet as well, for you to be, to be able to adapt and cope with the situation. If you have in Nigeria, you've gotten Daboski, just as an example, the preacher, the way he talks. All right. Now imagine you are in the class with somebody like that who changes things all around, and you're not able to quickly bring yourself up to speed with because you cannot afford not to get it right. Otherwise, you lose the training, you lose the class, and then you're going to have a problem. All right. But by and large, I think I have been able to get to a point where that is no longer a challenge. But then there are other challenges you meet along the way, but which you just manage in the best possible way you can.
So have you actually ever wished that you are a full-time HSC person like us? Like you're working under a company. Like me, I'm also a trainer too, but I'm a full-time person too.
I know.
So I was wondering, have you ever wished that maybe you are just head of maybe an NPC, head of something like that, head of it, or something like group head, something like that.
No, the thing is, the thing is, because I came into safety not as my primary profession, and by the time I got into safety, I was already a business owner. Okay, so of course, as part of my development and my journey, I actually worked in safety in the UK and even in Nigeria. All right, just to get the first-hand experience, and then of course in the UK, I spent a couple of years in the UK also also working both as a trainer and as an auditor. All right, but when you talk about working as a full-time HSE professional, I guess you are talking about from the operational basis of
yes,
a daily.
Yes, sir.
That has never been that has never been a consideration for me because, like I said, one, I love to train. I enjoy that. That was my, apart from the trading part of the business, that was my introduction into safety. And I've been able to make much more of an impact, all right, doing that than coming to site in the mornings, carrying out inspections, holding safety briefings, having toolbox talks, or even carrying out risk assessment. I did that for the little time that I needed to do that for the purpose of being a better trainer. But I think being a full-time health and safety operative was never a consideration for me. No.
Okay, sir. So someone starting a career now in HSC now, will you advise the person to be a full-time person or a trainer when you weigh it from your own side?
Well, everybody has his own individual career path that he has to, or journey that he has to embark, or he or she has to embark on. All right. And what works for one person will not necessarily work for another. Maybe if I was just coming into work life now, maybe I would think very seriously about being a full-time health and safety operative and working a 9 to 5 as an employee of in the role of a health and safety advisor. Yeah, maybe. All right. But for you to be a trainer and to be an effective trainer, you need a certain level of experience. You need a certain level. You need certain soft skills. You need certain you need certain attitudes and characteristics that come along with being able to effectively communicate. All right. So it's not going to be for everybody. It's not going to be for everybody. Just as even being a safety officer is not really for everybody. All right. There are attributes that you need to have. You need to ask yourself, do I have those attributes? All right. Am I willing to continuously study? Am I willing to do what is needed for me to be not just a trainer, but an effective one? All right. Am I able to look at situations and rise above my immediate limitations and challenges? So it's not one way or the other. You can actually, you doing both. You are working effectively as a safety advisor, and you are also training. All right. So you don't have to stick with one. But before you can say you want to start training, of course, you've got to know what you're training about. You've got to learn and get the necessary experience, and not just be limited by what you study from books. All right. So but you must start first. I would advise that you start first as a safety officer, growing that. And if along the way you feel led by the spirit to become a trainer, then hey, by all means, go for it.
Yes, sir. You're right, sir. I know you are always updated with all this industry, like you are one of the strong members of ISPON. I remember when I met you at ISPON, my first encounter with you was back years then. We were one of the ESCO of Lagos. I ran to you. You don't know me. I said, sir, I just finished my ISPON. I'm a member and I need a job. I don't need money. I just want to work. You said, are you sure? I said, yes. Just let me have this. I remember I can never forget that. I said I just finished my NYC then. He said, you this guy, said, sir, please, your people are just going. Say, please, sir. He said, don't worry. And you gave me my first job then. I remember then he said, no, sir. I said, sir, I don't want any salary. I just want to work. When I got there, the man said, how will I employ a graduate without no salary? I said, don't worry, I will give you something to support you home. Oh, I will always remember that, sir. And you told me then that for me to come to you then that. So when people come to meet me now that they want to start a car initiative, I say, can you work free? Because I did it and it worked for me. But after that, then I was able to get more offer. I know where I am now. I'm not where I'm meant to be, but I'm grateful where I am. So how do you stay connected with all this industry? This is Spawn, IOISH, how do you stay updated? Because I noticed that being a member of ISPON then helped me to be able to locate you. Because you don't know me. I just ran to you at the gate then after the meeting. I remember then. That was about 14 or 15 years ago. Over 10 years ago, Sha. I remember then you were one of the you were PRO then, Sabi, for ISPON Lagos.
Yes, I was. I
You were
was.
then
I
ISPON was
remember. I remember now that you brought it up. I do remember that day, and you asked about what gives me satisfaction or what gives me fulfillment in this job, and that's what you have just explained is absolutely one of such. When it comes to bodies like ISPON, IOSH, I was a member of IOSH before I even became a member of ISPON. All right, and I've been a member of IOSH now for well over 20 years, and I think I've been a member of ISPON for over 20 years as well. Okay, from when it was an ISP and all, yes, and I've been opportune to serve in some executive capacity, like you rightly mentioned. But being a member, there's no way you can actually progress, in my opinion, as a professional in safety. We are talking safety by being in a cocoon, by working like as an island. No man is an island. You need to, I think, the iron sharpened iron. You need to relate with others in the profession. You need to have a place where you interact with other people and share knowledge and share ideas and share experiences. All right, these are things that you get from being a member of professional bodies. All right. Now, unfortunately, for a few years, ISPON has been quite beleaguered and not been fulfilling its role as required both by the profession and by the country. But I'm happy now that I think is being resolved, and the body is now ready to go forward. That hopefully all the challenges that have limited the enjoyment by professionals of membership, all right, have been resolved and have been removed. And going forward now, the body will start fulfilling its role as a hub for raising professionals. Like I said, I've been in IOSH for over 20 years, and I actually started my IOSH membership from the UK. I've been a member of the East Midlands chapter for all this while, and before, of course, I joined the West African chapter. But in all the 20 years of being a member of East Midlands chapter, there have never been one single day where there's been rancor, where there's been any confusion as to what the status of everybody is, or the status of the chapter of IOSH, or I don't even know how to say it. For you to have an ISPON embroiled in the kind of confusion and self defeating quarrel that have been on for the past 7 years, it's totally unbelievable. I don't know how they've managed. But again, like I said, I'm happy that it seems to have really been resolved. And then going forward, young professionals, young practitioners can actually derive the maximum value, all right, from being members of a professional body. All right, you organize seminars, organize workshops, organize webinars, all right, where people can learn, continue to. The industry is fast evolving continuously, all right, and it's a disservice to people that are coming into the profession that there's so much. How do I say, too much confusion, so much rancor that they have to deal with.
Yes. Thank you, sir. I'm hearing you, sir. Okay, sir. So,
Yes.
so far, so good. I'm sure you have a mentor, or you have many mentors. So, and role models.
Mentors.
How do you have? Let me ask. Do you have a mentor or role model first? To be sure, do you have?
Uh, again, because of the way I evolved in health and safety, I wouldn't say mentor. All right, I wouldn't say I had a mentor, but I had an advisor in the in the person of Dr. Oluwagbemi. He was a friend, um, but also a father figure in the profession. What attracted me to him more than anything was his rigid, some would call it rigid, but I would say strict sense of integrity and commitment to any cause he puts his mind to. And he passed that on to me. Um, it was someone I could always call and discuss things with and talk about and talk things over with. And he did a lot, like I said, to help us get to where we were able to get to, as far as where we were able to get to, as far as um, training in Nigeria, training a whole generation of health and safety professionals in Nigeria. Without Dr. Oluwagbemi, I don't think that we would have been able to do what we did. He set, like I said, he set the pace, he encouraged, he was always willing to do things that went over and beyond the call. All right. And because of him, we were able to now, position Nigeria as not just a consumer of safety knowledge, but actually as a net exporter of resources to other African countries, to Europe. I know how many times that we sent trainers to Europe from SMTS, from our office in Namole, all right, to go and train in Turkey, to go and train to go and train in Turkey, to go and train in England, not for training, to go and train people, all right. All over Africa, the same thing, but it all started with this gentleman, all right, who was an absolute gem and who was a leader in every sense of the word. And I miss him very much. And like you said, I pray that his soul continues to enjoy sweet repose.
Yes, sir. Amen, sir. He also one of the
Mm.
strong member of ISPON then. I know him then during ISPON time. When they were
Yes,
saying NISP, before from when we were saying NISP then, was one of the strong member then.
yes.
Yeah. So
He
this
was, he was, he was, he was a board member at the time when, yes, at the time he was.
sir, yes, sir. So your career so far, being a trainer, being a businessman in safety, has it influenced your personal growth? How does it influence your personal growth so far? Has it affected you in such a way that
Ah,
if you look at about where you started from and where you are now, how do you see it?
what I would just say, what I'm somebody that loves to travel. All right, I love to travel, and I love culture. I love meeting people. I love impacting. I'm a people person, if you understand what I mean. And what has happened over the past 2 decades is that the work I've been doing has given me the opportunity not only to make a living, but also to indulge in my passion, which is meeting people, traveling, discovering new places. It's developed me as an individual. It opened up my worldview, made me a more rounded human in recognition of the kind of world we live in. All right. Like I said, I've been opportuned or privileged to have at least run training in what at least 12 African countries. All right, and in Europe as well, the Middle East, and all of these have been as a result of my almost every continent that I've been to. First, has always been by virtue of the work I do. Okay, but subsequently I might then make other trips. But the initial introduction has been because of the work that I do, and that has been one of the major impacts having been in this line of work. has had on my personal life, on my private life. Again, then, of course, being in health and safety also means that you've got to develop some peculiar traits, all right? Attention to detail, being able to, investigate things beyond the ordinary. You don't just look at things on the surface, all right? I've been blessed. I've been part of, accident investigations that have made me understand that what you see, what the immediate causes of events are not where they end. All right. So, and that you bring into your personal life as well. All right. You get yourself to a position where you don't just make assumptions. All right, knowing that fully well there's always an underlying cause and a root cause to everything. Okay, and that has helped me in my personal development to quite an extent. Yeah.
So as a professional, what value do you think someone needs to have in this profession? What value do you think is very important someone needs to have in this profession to be very successful?
Well, whenever I think about health and safety, I think about it in both the professional, in both the individual profession, and then of course as a business. As a health and safety practitioner, as a professional, you of course must have be ready to pay attention to detail. It's very important. You must be committed. You need to be a people person. You have passion. You need to have passion for people, for safety. It's difficult to maintain appearances for something that doesn't really excite you, that something that you are not truly emotionally and psychologically invested in. Okay, if you are doing it just because you don't have a job, all right, your output is going to reflect that sooner or later. Okay, but if it's something that you are doing because you love it, you truly like to save people, you truly like to prevent accidents, you truly like to make the workplace a safer place, then you will succeed. The challenges you will face in your work, in dealing with people, in trying to mold people, change behaviors, will not be that daunting. All right, the challenges will be there, but you will not be overcome or overburdened to the extent that then you begin to wonder what you are doing here. But if you have the desire, you have the passion for people, and you must have that. If not, there's no point in your being in health and safety. On the other hand, of course, you must be somebody that is ready to continually learn. All right? You must be continually learning. You must be a personal health and safety management system yourself. All right? Okay, you must be apply the PDCA cycle to yourself, continual improvement to yourself. All right? Continually taking lessons, drawing up plans, putting it in action, continually developing. All right, because like I said, the minute you stop learning or the minute you stop moving forward, you start going backward. I can assure you that those quite a few people that were professionals that were at the top of the profession 15, 20 years ago are probably, if they're still there, are not as effective anymore as back there, because the workplace has changed so much, the work tools have changed so much. So if you are not one of those that continually develops himself or herself, then you might get left behind. Okay.
Yes, sir. So like what you just said now, you have seen a lot of changes in the industry now, in the profession now, based on previous year. How do you think this will impact the future?
Well, there are changes both globally and in Nigeria that are taking place over time. All right. When you look at on the global stage, you look at something like the introduction and establishment of ISO 45001 as a global standard, for example. This came in, and this was the first truly global standard that that came in for health and safety, aside from the OSAS 18001. But now there is something that everybody can work towards that sort of sets the basis, the foundation upon which you build your system. And with that, there really isn't a reason there isn't a reason for guesswork. There isn't a reason to say, well, this that is there, this is not here. But you have something to work with, and that is developing. And that is developing. That, of course, has defined how everybody relates when it comes to issues of managing risks in the workplace. Now, we are talking AI, sustainability, business integration. All of these are not just buzzwords, they are the reality of where we are today. All right? AI is changing the face of hazard identification and risk management. And it is going to continue. It is going to continue. And anybody that says that, especially the younger generation of safety managers that want to be relevant in the coming years, in the coming decades, must get familiar with how to use AI to manage their risk, their hazard identification and risk management processes. All right. It is no longer enough for you to be for you to think that everything rests on a checklist. No. You've got to be able to, and if you don't innovate, okay, you will be left behind. If you don't learn what is last week, I think was Dapo Molade's birthday, and I was privileged to be on the panel, to moderate the panel that that talked about the challenges health and safety will face in the VUCA world. One of the panelists, Ugochi, said quite a lot about what the challenges that are faced by the gig workers. Gig workers, of course, meaning those working in working from home, working in unregulated work hours, short work. But this is the future of work. All right. And it will come with its own challenges. That is its own challenges. And these are the things that people that want to be relevant going forward must take into consideration and learn. How do I fit into this? What does this portend for my future as a professional and as a person? What are the things that how are the issues of sustainability? All right. How do they relate to health and safety? How do they integrate? How am I going to be able to make myself relevant in ensuring that the sustainability is integrated into health and safety, or health and safety and sustainability are integrated such that I continue to play a relevant role in whatever organization I find myself?
You're right, sir. Interesting. So there are some ideas I know that in this profession now that most of the your colleague might agree to, but you don't agree to it. Can you just why do you disagree with some of them? Or do you agree whatever they because I know you very well that sometimes they say some things A, your own is B, and you always drag it well. So I noticed that most times your points are always very right. So why do you most times disagree with some ideas that they talk about?
Well, it's not like one just disagrees with situations for the sake of disagreement. Some of us, when something isn't right and we know it not to be right, we just feel compelled to share our point of view. Okay, let me go back to when I first joined this NISP as it was back then, just as an example of the things I don't agree with and which till today still remains valid. Back then, when I first joined, I remember leading up to the point of the election and this is just an example of that, into the ESCO that I served in. At the point it became quite fractious, and one of the things that was being pushed as a point against me was that I was not an engineer. All right, that I was not an engineer, and so I shouldn't be in safety. And I found that highly ridiculous. All right, because I could not. It made no sense to me. Okay. Of course, I insisted that that wasn't right, that does not. Show me your. Say, no, I don't want to see your engineering certificate or your engineering qualification. I want to see your safety qualification. I want to see what you know about safety. All right. So if you think that being an engineer is a prerequisite for every kind of safety position, then you are wrong. You can be anything. You can have any kind of qualification and still be a very effective safety practitioner and safety professional. Once you have learned what you need to learn, then the rest, of course, comes from how you apply yourself, how you develop yourself. Just because you're a civil engineer does not make you a better professional, a better health and safety professional than someone who has a first degree in political science. The point is, what do you know about safety? What do you know about health and safety? And how have you applied it? How can you apply it? All right. What are you bringing to the table when it comes to actual risk hazard identification and risk assessment, managing people, managing safety, being able to actually run a safety system? All right. How do you fit? Being an engineer might be useful in some particular in some particular industries, might give you a leg up in some particular, but we are talking of work around. There is no industry, there is no work situation that does not require health and safety consideration, health and safety input, or that does not require health and safety management. None. And not all of them require you to be an engineer. Not all of them require you to even be a science-oriented student, a science-oriented person. No. So that's one of the things I disagreed with, and we eventually, I think, I was able to prove to the old guards then that yes, I was right, and that because a lot of them ended up coming to learn from me. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So that's one of the things I can remember just off the top of my head now. Yes.
Thank you, Dad, for proving that to them, because many people that are in safety now, they are not even science oriented. We have so many departments that people that are working in safety department now. So if you have not proved
absolutely,
that, they will have maybe doing ISPON now. They'll be saying that if you are not engineer, you can't be ISPON member. So they don't put that part of the.
Yeah.
Thank you for fighting that for us back then. We appreciate that. Then I just want to ask, apart from, let's forget about the HSC now, in terms of your free time, how do you balance your personal life and your work together? I hope you enjoy yourself. I know you're always on Facebook. What you post on Facebook different from what you post on. I know you very well, so you are a different person, and you're also a blogger. I noticed that you blog, yeah. So you like writing too. So how do you balance that up? Another side of you.
Well, thank you for that. Like you rightly said, I love to write. I do quite a lot of writing, and I also have a book out. I'm working on my second book now. Hopefully, it should be out before the end of the year. But I write for 2 publications. Okay, I love watching movies. When I have the time to do so. I love Arsenal, and yeah, whatever time I get, whatever free time I get, I like to use it to have a good time, to enjoy myself with family, with friends. I've got friends that we've been together for over 40 years, and that we still have very strong friendships. And we generally get together as often as we can and relive old times. So this helps to keep everybody young. But as far as balancing work life relationships go now, I'm not as I don't work as much as I used to. All right, I've scaled down and scaled back the work I do to a certain extent, but I still train regularly. But more my focus right now is more on my writing and maintaining a balanced family life as much as I can. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know you're married with kids. I'm aware of that one very well. You're balancing
Yes, I
everything
am.
well. So if you could give,
Yeah.
let's look at about 18 years old you. Then I know then maybe you're just trying to enter university or anything. If you can advise someone that is 18 years back then, like you now, what would you have done differently? What about who have been that
Well,
person?
if I had to advise anybody that is 18 years old now, based on the experience I have, I'll say first and foremost, you need to avoid procrastination. All right, you need to avoid whatever you need to do it quickly, and then you've got only one life to live, so live it. Live it. Um, do what. Make sure you are the main character in your own story. All right. Don't let your life be defined by the expectations of others. But just do the best you can at all times, and then that should be it. Essentially, be good to yourself, be good to other people.
Mm,
That's about it. And because life will happen. Life will happen. Whatever you do, life will go on. All right. Life will go on, and life will happen to you. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but just keep at it and keep living. All
mm.
right. Live while you
Okay.
can live. Live while you are alive, I would say.
Yes, the what you just said now actually touched me that we can't always be winning. There are sometimes that we lose,
Yeah,
and so we always pray that we
the
have
way
the
it
courage
is.
to move on when we lost most times. That's great. So
Yes.
what message do you have for our audience? The final message, like a takeaway for the audience that what they are meant to
Well,
just
on the professional level, I'll just as far as health and safety is concerned, we should look at health and safety. This I say to every class I run. Health and safety should be looked at as a cost of business, not as a cost to business. Treat health and safety just the way you treat any other component, or even more importantly than any other input into your business, whether it's marketing, whether it's maintenance, production, finance. Health and safety is more important, and you should see health and safety as being the linchpin of the success of any business. All right. Uh, that is as far as health and safety goes. On a personal general note, um, live life while you can, enjoy life while you can, because life will happen with or without you.
tell you. Yeah. That's a powerful word. You are there, you're not there, life will still go on. So why do you have to just
Absolutely.
exactly, sir? So you can you just tell us about what you render your services before we round up, before we start attending to questions?
Yeah, what we do, health and safety consultancy, with critical documents, management of help develop health and safety management systems, risk assessments, training. Um, right now, we no longer run open classes, only in company on request classes, trainings, and but we do quite a lot of audits. that is something we do much more of these days than even training. And then I don't operate out of Nigeria as much as I used to, but if you need to find out more about what we do, just check www.smtszambia.com and you find everything right there.
Yes, sir. So just add, I remember when you posted my story on LinkedIn then about how you met me. Then many people were commenting. At least I've actually make you proud to have made some impact in my little way, the way I can.
You have. I'm always very proud of
I
you
remember when
today.
I came to after the NISP then, after you gave me that job to start, I started construction, I started working construction. I was able to also for my Nebosh a little bit, and you were able to assist me. And I said I should pay Mr. Gabriel who is here. He was your operation manager then.
Oh, Gabriel is here.
Yes, I remember then
That's nice.
I had to hustle for money. I said I don't have all the money for the neighbor show. You said I should not worry. I was paying small then. I remember then I was sleeping in the lecture room. I said the lecture room for the whole 2 weeks of the because then during the neighborhood then was the white man that taught us you have to do the exam
Yeah.
immediately. Everything was just rush. You have to. I just said I can't go move from Omole to Ikotun. I don't have transfer first. I had to stay in the lecture room for 2 weeks. I was sleeping there. So sometimes I just laugh so after then God was
I
able to
remember that usually.
when I was done, I had to be paying for my money a little bit till I was able to finish. Then it was 350,000 naira, sir, right?
Yeah.
It was 350,000 naira then.
Yeah, but remember that 350,000 then was the equivalent of 1,450 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
the naira was better then.
Mm.
So we're able to save the money. I saved the money. So
Mm.
I paid till I was able to finish. Then after the exam was result of that, I was not even done paying. You were so nice to me. I can never forget you in my career. So
Oh,
I paid the
thank you so
350 for
much.
several months before I could. So after then, I think I've done well with myself. It gave me the opportunity of having experience without having a job experience. Then it also gave me an opportunity for Nebosh then. So I was able to be so thank you, sir. You are really a great man. I can never forget you in
Yeah,
my career. That's why I'm putting in there. I can never
thank
forget you. And Mr. Gabriel too was there then. We were laughing. He was the
come
operation
on.
Mr. Gabriel was the operation manager then. So I remember that. So God bless you, sir. You have been so kind. It was after then, I think Hybrid now started doing Nebosh then, because I think you were the only one doing Nebosh then when I did my Nebosh. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you are the only one doing
yeah,
Nebosh
I
then.
think I think so. And but I believe too was running right about that same time, but I think they were just coming in.
Yeah, they were just
They
coming in
started
then.
about I think the year after or
Yes,
2 years after we started or something. I can't
yes,
remember now.
exactly.
Yeah,
So thank you very much, sir. So
you're welcome.
we attend to question now. Thank you, sir. So I'll stop recording
Okay,
now so that
no, that's fine. It was my pleasure, and I'm very proud of what you've
uh,
become in the industry. Thank you.
I will still make you proud more than this. I'm just coming up by God's grace. I'll still make you proud. So that the what you posted on LinkedIn, then many people were when I now saw the comment of people, then I saw the way people were, and I said, so in my little way, I've made impact like this. So I was just grateful. Thank you, sir. Because sometimes the post can go wrong. Like people can talk bad about you. So on that cases, people were talk good about me. So I was lucky that nobody talked bad about me in that comment section. That was my husband said that it's a two-way thing. If someone posts something like that, it can be bad or good. But lucky you, it came out what positive. So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh,
we'll attend to the question now.
okay.